Welcome back, True Seeker. Tomorrow, March 27th, 2025, we are going to find out if there was truly something to this stunt at the French Open on June 3rd, 2022. This post is from June of 2022. That's when the woman ran on the court and it read on her t-shirt, "We have 1,028 days left." And again, this came in France, and it had to do with climate change. And of course, when you think France and the climate, you think of the Paris Climate Accords. You might also think of Pope Francis, who's written all of his encyclicals about climate change. You might also think about the Jesuits, who were created in Paris, France. You might think of Rafael Nadal, who went on to win the French Open, the clay master. He won at age 36 after this stunt on a date written 3/6. In that part of the world. But yes, from the date of the stunt, June 3rd, 2022 to tomorrow is 1,028 days. And something that stood out to me at the time is it landing on March 27th went along with Pope Gregory XI, the last French pope in the history of the church. He was the 201st pope in the history of the Catholic Church, the first French pope. It's kind of like how Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope and the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. And of course, 201 is very important to the Jesuits, who were created in Paris, France. Keep in mind, this stunt happened on the 154th day of the year, and the number 201 is the 154th composite number. So I do find that interesting. And then the Jesuits, they take on the Templar tradition. And another name for the Templars, if you're not familiar with the Jesuits, look up their logo. It has the Templar cross right in the middle. But the Templars, they were known as the Order of Solomon's Temple. It was their alias. And if you don't know why modern-day Israel is where it is, it's because of the Templars, who say the site that's now all Oxgamas, they used to call it Solomon's Temple. And that's why some hardline Zionists, they want to blow up all Oxgamas and build the third temple there, part of Jewish prophecy. But the Order of Solomon's Temple, interestingly enough, equates to 1,028. Remember, they were burned at the stake in France, and that's where the superstition of Friday the 13th came from. So that is also noteworthy. And again, there you can see June 3rd. It's the 154th day of the year, 201, 154th composite. It's also the day leaving 211 days left in the year. And the woman who wore that shirt that said we had 1,028 days left, it had a sponsor, which was Dernier Renovation, which, interestingly enough, equals 211. Kind of like the Vatican's birthday is 211, February 11th. You might recall the first ever Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday, Super Bowl 58. If you add up all the points the Chiefs were in, who won that Super Bowl with Andy Reid and Mahomes, all the points scored in those games adds up to 211 because it is that scripted. And yes, March 27th, the day this will end up on, is the 86th day of the year, when, of course, Jesuits equates to 86. So we'll see if there really was something to this, or if it was just, I don't know, some goofy ritual. But we know the powers that shouldn't be, they do work by the numbers. They do have events planned long in advance. They do love to pay tribute to their history. With regards to the Order of Solomon's Temple and why modern-day Israel is where it is, don't forget, State of Israel equates to 201. Netanyahu left power in a 201 ritual and returned to power in a 201 ritual. The war broke out in a 201 ritual. Recently, Trump's been threatening this hell to pay in Israel. He said that several times now, and so far it's been mostly rhetoric. But yeah, just a heads up that tomorrow will be 1,028 days later, and we'll see what that means. We'll see what that means. Keep in mind, this did have to do with climate change, so if anything insane happens in terms of weather tomorrow, don't forget this event here. And as I say that, today's a span of 1,028 days since it happened. And perhaps that is important. Today, the day before, you could say from June 3rd, 2022 to today, March 26th is a span of 1,028 days, where tomorrow is 1,028 days later. But the reason I bring up today is because in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, there's a rare storm warning. Get on the 85th day of the year when in Gematria storm equals 85, and the storm warning goes from Portland up to Seattle. And the big sports arena in Seattle is Climate Pledge Arena. The basketball team there's the Seattle Storm. Today can be written 26/3, like 263, the 56 prime. Climate change equals 56, like Paris, France, like Society of Jesus, like the word Pope itself. Again, Pope Francis writes all the encyclicals about climate change. So yeah, perhaps pay attention to what comes out of that storm in the Pacific Northwest. They're saying there could be tornadoes. Tornadoes are extremely rare in the Pacific Northwest. And don't forget, there's been a lot of tornadoes in places that don't normally have tornadoes ever since that movie came out last year on the 201st day of the leap year, Twisters. Again, it matters on the 201st day of the year because weather control equals 201, like the Jesuit order equals 201. Like, again, Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201, the last French pope, the 201st, March 27th, tomorrow, the anniversary of the last French pope's death. But yeah, the first act of weather warfare admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday. Lyndon Johnson said, "Who controls the weather controls the world." 200. Well, he said it actually prior to, but he also said it 201 days after JFK died at the Jesuit University Holy Cross. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's hope for nothing. Until next time, Truth Seeker.